Well, my name is Fiona Harvey. I was baptised at the church, so I've been here a lifetime. I am currently the treasurer here. I took over as treasurer in 2016 when our treasurer at that time had to retire through ill health. I was church warden at the time, so it fell into my lap by default, and I've been doing it ever since.
So you must be doing something right, because you can't give it up just at the moment then.
Well, I hope I'm doing something right.
So as treasurer, what sort of giving mechanisms do you have here at St Mary's?
We use PGS. We have a couple of people who do standing orders. We have cash donations. We have online donations. And we have a card reader.
And do you still pass the plate at all, or if not, when did that stop?
We stopped passing the plate some years ago. The plate is always available at the back of the church after services for those people who want to use it. But we find now that so many of our congregation use PGS that we don't need to pass the plate.
Well, that's really good to know, because some churches' resistance to adding PGS to their mechanisms is that people will actually want to put something physically in. So you do still have that available if they want to, but people don't really bother with that.
No. And we did, when we started PGS, we did have the tokens. At that time we were still passing the plate, but we very soon found that people weren't bothering to put the tokens in either. And I actually felt that that passing the plate when some people were using it and some people weren't using it made it very obvious those that for whatever reason weren't able to use PGS. It sort of put them in a separate category. And also when we have visitors to the church, I do feel that probably they belong to another congregation elsewhere and are no doubt supporting that church. And also one doesn't want to feel that one's visiting a church just because the congregation wants your money.
Absolutely, it sort of makes sense, doesn't it, for visitors as well?
It's just nice to welcome people and say how lovely it is to see you, isn't it?
It is, that's right. And when you first joined PGS, so the church would have passed a resolution, but how did you come to that decision?
We were aware of it, our previous treasurer made us aware of it back in 2016. And then we talked about it at PCC, and in 2018 we decided this was the way that we wanted to move forward.
Lovely. And as a treasurer, have there been any benefits to you personally?
Tremendous benefits, because I remember pre-PGS, when I was church warden, the treasurer and the church wardens had to gather in the vestry after each service. We had to separate envelopes, we had to go through the envelopes, open each one, put the amounts on the envelopes. It was a lengthy process. And then when I took over as treasurer, for the 2 years that we weren't doing PGS, of course that continued. And then not only did we have the lengthy process of the vestry, but then Sunday afternoon I used to spend another hour tracking all those envelopes on my spreadsheet at home, so I could keep account of them all. I think the biggest benefit is that I know exactly how much is going to come in through PGS every month. One could say one would know that through envelopes anyway, but people didn't always pay their envelopes regularly. And we also know and can use the gift aid from PGS through the year.
Yeah.
We're no longer reliant on me getting to the end of the year and finding the time to actually do the claim. So that's immediate money that we can use.
And I'm sure COVID was a time when PGS came into its own, really.
Oh my goodness, yes, because again, the church was closed, but we knew exactly how much was coming in. We could pay our bills, like our insurance, without any difficulty. It also means that I'm not handling so much money myself, which I think security-wise is a good thing.
Yes. And so that it's taken a lot of burden off for you, hasn't
tremendously.
it?
Yes.
The time involved, we don't always realise.
The accounting at the back of the church now takes very little time.
That's great. And so it's obviously much more convenient to you. What about your givers, those people regularly who use the scheme? Do they find it convenient too?
Yes, in fact, some of our people who've joined the scheme more recently say, oh, it's so lovely not to have to find my £10 note or my £5 note every Sunday morning. I've done it and I know that it's there.
It's lovely to be able to think about something before you actually get to church, isn't it? To prepare in advance, and it's all done for you. So some treasurers I speak with are a bit concerned about not being able to claim gift aid on any PGS donations, and we know that's right, it's claimed through the PGS scheme itself. But do you find you can claim enough regular gift aid from other sources to take advantage of the small donation scheme?
Yes, indeed we do. We actually have an annual gift day here, and as I said earlier, we also have a couple of standing orders that come in, and then we have cash donations at various times, and so yes, I can well cover my GAST claim.
That's very reassuring to know.
Yes.
So PGS doesn't inhibit your ability to benefit from that at all.
No, I mean that will vary with different churches, won't it? According to how many, how big the GAST claim is. But certainly for us, it's not been any problem.
No, that's brilliant. One of the options for PGS donors is to be able to auto-inflate their gift. So how do you think the auto-inflate option benefits St Mary's?
Yes, well, in a very obvious way, in that we are actually keeping up with inflation. Not all of our donors do auto-inflate, and so their donation, unless they have looked at it themselves and reviewed it, has stayed as it was when we started in 2018. But for those people who have auto-inflated, of course, their donation has risen accordingly.
Yeah, so you don't get that stagnant giving, but I suppose it also shows how important it is to keep talking about finance, not all the time, but just so that people
are
reminded.
aware. Yes. But then that is equally a difficulty with the envelope scheme. I think in the past people decided how much they were going to put in their envelopes, and there was no option then to auto-inflate. And so those amounts could easily have just stagnated as well.
So whatever mechanism people are using to give, it's just good to keep that generosity and financial giving in the area, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So Fiona, how do you go about inviting people onto the scheme in the first place, or now that you have regular givers in the church, inviting new people to join the scheme? What do you do about that?
Well, if I go back to 2018, I looked at our envelope givers, and I looked especially at those that could be tax efficient, and I visited each giver and I explained the scheme to them. We went through it. So I introduced it to them individually. Those people who aren't able to be tax efficient, I actually encourage them not to join it, because I can claim the GAS scheme on their donations. Now, for people who have joined us more recently, I think one has to be quite careful as to when one actually introduces it. Again, you don't want to sort of say to people as soon as they walk through the church, oh, we've got this GAS scheme, would you like to join it? I think one has to be sure that they are safe and settled with us, and then when the time is right, again, explain the scheme to them and let them see the benefits for themselves and for the church.
Of course, you've got information in the church anyway about the scheme, and people, if they want to, they can make a one-off donation in the meantime, can't they?
Yes.
But you're talking as though you want people to feel part of the church, and then it becomes just part of church life. So talking about giving isn't any different from talking about any other part of church life.
Yes, and it's something, I mean, I always report on it, certainly in the annual report, and when the congregation are there, and at PCCs we always report on it as well.
Yeah, and people like to know what's going on in church, don't they? So it makes them feel part of what's going on, doesn't it? So obviously giving through the Parish Giving Scheme is just a small part of the generosity shown by those attending St Mary's. Are they generous in other ways as well?
Our congregation are wonderful. They are so generous. They're generous with their time, they're generous with their talents. We have regular events here, fundraising events, most of which involve food, and most of the ingredients are given. Yeah, they are just a wonderful, wonderful bunch, giving of their time in all sorts of ways, giving of their talents.
So that's lovely to see generosity coming through somebody's life rather than it being compartmentalised.
Yes.
I give with my finance but
Yeah.
not with my time, or vice
Yes.
versa. And that's a lovely outworking here at Sheviock, isn't it? And have you got any final thoughts about the Parish Giving Scheme or giving and generosity in general?
I would think that I would highly recommend it to anyone who's not sure about it. Look at it very carefully. Go into it with care and thought. Make sure that you introduce it individually rather than just giving out a notice at the front of the church saying, if you'd like to join the Parish Giving Scheme. I think one has to make the effort, almost like a stewardship campaign, to actually go and visit and talk to people. Talking is the key, I think.
That communication, isn't it? So
Yes.
people know what's happening,
Yes.
and they can decide whether they want to be part of it or not.
Yeah.
Well, Fiona, you've done marvellous work in this church here, and we just thank you for your faithful stewardship, and pray every blessing on you and this church in the years to come. Thank you so much.